I'm Helen Davis, and I'm 69 years old. I spent 40 years as a pediatric nurse, learning to read pain in the things people don't say. But the day my son-in-law smiled at my daughter Lauren during their wedding, I read something else entirely in his eyes. Something calculating. Something cold. I wish to God I'd trusted that instinct sooner. It was a beautiful wedding, intimate, elegant, exactly what Lauren wanted after everything she'd been through. The ceremony took place in the garden of her home in Riverside, just outside Phoenix, with white roses climbing the arbor and string lights glowing against the Arizona sunset. My granddaughter Chloe, 14 and radiant in her lavender bridesmaid dress, signed the entire ceremony for herself, her hands moving gracefully through the vows. She was born profoundly deaf, and American Sign Language had become the language of our family's love. Lauren was luminous in her simple ivory gown, her dark hair swept up, her eyes shining as she looked at Adam Turner. She deserved this happiness. God knows she'd earned it. My daughter had been a widow for 6 years. Her first husband, Michael, Chloe's father, died in a car accident when Chloe was only 8. A drunk driver, wrong place, wrong time, the kind of random cruelty that shatters lives. The life insurance had been substantial, $1.2 million, and Lauren had invested it wisely. She'd bought the house, set up a college fund for Chloe, built a secure future. She never flaunted the money, but I knew it was there. A safety net. A promise to Michael that their daughter would be okay. Then, 2.5 years ago, she'd met Adam at a charity gala. He was handsome in that polished way some men are, silver at the temples, expensive suits, confident smile. He said he was a commercial real estate investor, talked about properties and developments with casual authority. He pursued Lauren with intensity, flowers and handwritten notes and weekend getaways. After 5 years of loneliness, she fell hard. I wanted to be happy for her. I really did. But that moment during the wedding, when Adam turned to greet guests after the ceremony, I saw him glance at the house, Lauren's beautiful house, with the same expression a jeweler uses to appraise a diamond. Not appreciation, calculation. My late husband Richard used to say I was too suspicious, that I saw problems where there were none. But Richard also said, "Ellie, you've seen enough people in that hospital to know when someone's faking." 40 years in pediatric emergency rooms taught me to read people, and every alarm I had went off around Adam Turner. I tried to warn Lauren once, gently, about 6 months before the wedding. "Honey, you've only known him 18 months. Maybe take a little more time?" She'd laughed, squeezing my hand. "Mom, I'm 41 years old. I'm not a kid. Adam is good to me. He's good to Chloe. He's learning sign language for her. That's all that matters." And he was learning sign language, sort of. Basic stuff. Hello. Thank you. I love you. Simple phrases that made Chloe smile shyly. But after 2 years together, his signing never progressed beyond that kindergarten level. He'd just give Chloe a thumbs up and let Lauren translate everything, and I saw the disappointment in my granddaughter's eyes. Her stepfather didn't really want to talk to her, but I backed off. What else could I do? Lauren was an adult. She'd made her choice. So I smiled at the wedding and hugged them both and tried to ignore the knot in my stomach. The first real sign of trouble came 6 months after the wedding. Adam started bringing business associates around. Lauren would mention them casually when I called. Adam's partner stopped by today. One of Adam's investors came for drinks. I met a few of them at Sunday barbecues. They were all polished, smooth-talking men who complimented Lauren's home a little too enthusiastically, who shook my hand and called me ma'am, with practiced charm. Then I met Tyler Grant. It was a warm October afternoon, one of those perfect Arizona days when the heat finally breaks. Lauren had invited me over for lunch, and Adam was grilling steaks on the back patio. 2 men arrived just as we were setting the table. "Helen, Mom, come meet my partners," Adam called out, his arm around Lauren's waist. "This is Brandon Mills, and this is Tyler Grant." Brandon was tall, with a Texas drawl and an easy smile. Tyler was younger, maybe 35, with sandy hair and wire-rimmed glasses. He wore a blue button-down and khakis, looking every bit the business professional. "Tyler's deaf," Adam said matter-of-factly, "but he's a genius with financial analysis. Best investment advisor I've ever worked with." My heart warmed immediately. A deaf professional. How wonderful for Chloe to see representation like that. I automatically signed, "Nice to meet you." Tyler's face lit up. He signed back. "The pleasure is mine, Mrs. Davis. Adams told me so much about you and Chloe." We had a brief conversation in ASL. Tyler told me he'd been deaf since birth, that he'd studied finance at Arizona State University. He asked about Chloe's progress with sign language, seemed genuinely interested in her education, but something felt off. His signing was too perfect, too textbook, like someone who'd learned ASL academically rather than growing up in the deaf community. There were tiny things, cultural references he missed, deaf jokes that went over his head, a certain formality in his syntax that felt artificial. Later, when the men were talking business inside and Chloe and I were clearing dishes, I mentioned it. "What did you think of Tyler?" I signed to her. Chloe made a face. "His signing is weird." "Weird how?" "Like he learned from a book, not from deaf people. Too formal. Too hearing." I filed that observation away, but I didn't know what to make of it. Maybe Tyler had been mainstreamed in hearing schools. Maybe he'd been isolated from deaf culture. It happened. Still, I noticed Adam watching me during that barbecue. Noticed how the conversation switched to spoken English whenever I came close to their business discussions. Noticed how Adam would glance at Tyler, and Tyler would nod. Some silent communication passing between them. Over the next few months, things began to change in small, troubling ways. Adam convinced Lauren to add his name to her bank accounts. "We're married, babe. What's yours is mine, right?" He'd said it like a joke, but Lauren had done it. Joint checking, joint savings, joint investment accounts. When I asked her about it, she was defensive. "Mom, it's normal for married couples to have joint accounts. Don't you trust him?" The truth was I didn't, but I couldn't articulate why. It was just feelings, instincts, the way Adam would steer conversations toward finances. "Have you thought about refinancing the house? What's your investment portfolio looking like? You should let me help you manage your assets." Lauren, trusting and in love, shared everything. I noticed that Adam never seemed to actually work much. He'd take calls, sure, talk about deals, but where were the closings? Where were the clients? When I asked Lauren, she said commercial real estate was cyclical, that he was between major projects. I noticed that Adam's work meetings at the house became more frequent. He'd set up in the den, close the door. Sometimes Tyler would be there, sometimes Brandon, sometimes a woman Adam introduced as Vanessa Reed, our real estate attorney. They'd stay for hours, their voices low, and whenever I passed by, the conversation would stop. I started paying closer attention. One Thursday afternoon in late March, 3 weeks before everything fell apart, I stopped by Lauren's house to drop off some books I'd borrowed. It was around 10 p.m. I'd been at a hospital fundraiser and Lauren's house was on the way home. The house was mostly dark, but I saw light from the den. Through the half-open door, I heard Adam's voice. "I told you, the kid won't remember anything. She was only 8 when her dad died." I froze in the hallway. A male voice on speakerphone. "What about the old lady? The mother-in-law? Is she suspicious?" Adam laughed. "Helen? She's harmless. Just plays with the kid and bakes cookies. She doesn't even know I transferred 50 grand out of the investment account last week." The blood in my veins turned to ice. "Lauren signed those portfolio management papers without reading them," Adam continued. "Trusts me completely. This is going to be easier than Patricia." Patricia. The name hit me like a physical blow, though I didn't know why. "How much longer?" the voice on the phone asked. 2 weeks, maybe 3. Brandon's finalizing the offshore accounts. Once we get Lauren to sign the house into the trust, we transfer everything and we're gone. Clean. I backed away slowly, carefully, my heart hammering so hard I thought they'd hear it. I made it to my car on shaking legs and drove home on autopilot. That night I didn't sleep. I sat in my living room surrounded by photo albums, pictures of Richard holding baby Lauren, pictures of Lauren and Michael on their wedding day, pictures of Chloe as a newborn, so tiny, so perfect, before we knew she was deaf. Pictures of the 3 of us, grandmother, mother, daughter, learning to sign together, our hands forming words of love in the air. I thought about Adam's words. This is going to be easier than Patricia. Who was Patricia? At 6 a.m., I called a number I hadn't used in years. "Tom Rodriguez." The voice was gruff with sleep. "Tom, it's Helen Davis. From Phoenix General? You helped me when—" "Helen, of course. The medication theft case. What's wrong?" "I need to hire you. My son-in-law. I think he's planning to rob my daughter. Maybe worse. There was a pause. Then, tell me everything. 2 days later, I sat in Tom's small office in Tempe. He was 58 now, retired from Phoenix PD's fraud division, with gray hair and sharp eyes that had seen every con in the book. He slid a thick folder across his desk. Helen, this is bad. Really bad. My hands trembled as I opened it. Adam Turner doesn't exist, Tom said flatly. At least not the way your daughter knows him. His real name is Adam Brennan. He's a con artist, Helen, a professional. The room tilted. Tom continued, his voice gentle but firm. He's done this twice before. Married wealthy widows or divorcees, gained access to their finances, then disappeared with everything. He showed me photos, documents, police reports. Sandra Mitchell, San Diego, 2015. Married Adam after 8 months of dating. He cleaned out her accounts, $680,000, and vanished. She was still paying off the debts he'd left in her name. Patricia Nguyen, Sacramento, 2018. Married Adam after a year of courtship. He took $920,000. Patricia had an 8-year-old son. 6 months after Adam disappeared, unable to face the financial ruin and shame, Patricia killed herself. Her son went into foster care. I couldn't breathe. There's more, Tom said quietly. Your instincts about Tyler Grant were right. His real name is Tyler Hammond. He's not deaf, Helen. Never has been. He's an actor, failed theater career, who learned ASL specifically for cons like this. He pretends to be deaf to eavesdrop, to gain sympathy, to seem trustworthy. And the others? Brandon Mills, real name Brandon Willis, forges documents. Vanessa Reed, real name Vanessa Rodriguez, was fired from Chase Bank for embezzlement. They're all in on it. I stared at the photos of Patricia Nguyen, a beautiful woman with kind eyes holding her little boy, both of them smiling, neither knowing what was coming. When? I whispered. When will they move? Based on the pattern and what you overheard, I'd say within 2 weeks. They're probably planning a big cash transfer, then they'll disappear. New identities, new country. They've done it before. How do we stop them? Tom leaned forward. We need proof. We need to catch them in the act, on record, planning the theft. Then we go to the police with everything. I thought about the business meetings at Lauren's house, thought about Tyler signing to the others, believing no one but Chloe could understand. And suddenly, I knew exactly how to trap them. The dinner, I said slowly. Adam's planning a celebration dinner this Friday. All the partners will be there. He told Lauren it's to celebrate closing a big deal. That could be when they finalize everything, Tom said. I met his eyes. Tyler thinks he's deaf. They think I only know basic sign language. Hello, thank you, goodbye. If Chloe isn't in the room, they might communicate their whole plan right in front of me. Tom's eyes widened. You're fluent in ASL? 17 years. I learned when Chloe was born. I can understand every word they sign. A slow smile crossed Tom's face. Then let's set a trap. We spent the next hour planning like military strategists preparing for battle. Tom had connections, friends still in Phoenix PD, including Detective Sarah Park in the fraud division. She'd been trying to catch Adam's crew for 2 years, chasing leads across 3 states. With Tom's evidence and my eyewitness testimony about the overheard phone call, Sarah could get arrest warrants ready. But we needed more. We needed them caught red-handed, discussing specific amounts, specific dates, specific crimes. The camera needs to be completely hidden, Tom explained, pulling a small velvet box from his desk drawer. Inside was an antique-looking brooch, silver with small garnets. This is professional grade. The lens is in the center stone. Records in HD, 4 hours of battery, picks up audio within 15 feet. I turned it over in my hands. It was beautiful. Exactly the kind of thing I might wear to a nice dinner. How do I operate it? Press the clasp twice. Quick double tap. LED will flash once when it's recording, but it's so small no one will notice. You wear this, sit near them at dinner, and let them sign their confession. What about you? I'll be outside in a surveillance van with backup equipment. We'll have 2 angles, your camera and my directional mic through the window. Detective Park and her team will be 2 blocks away, ready to move on my signal. It sounded almost too simple, But then I thought about Patricia Nguyen's 8-year-old son, now 13, growing up without his mother. I thought about Lauren signing away her house, her security, Chloe's future. I thought about Adam's cold laugh on that phone call. "When do we do this?" I asked. "Friday night, 5 days from now. Can you act normal until then?" I'd spent 40 years in emergency rooms, staying calm while children coded, while parents screamed, while everything fell apart around me. I could do this. "Yes," I said firmly. "I can do this." Tom nodded, respect in his eyes. "One more thing, Helen. You can't tell Lauren. Not yet." "What?" "But she deserves to know. If she knows, she might confront him. Or he might read it on her face. These guys are professionals. They'll run and we'll lose our chance. I know it's hard, but Lauren is safer if she doesn't know until it's over." I closed my eyes, hating this, hating the secrets. But Tom was right. "Okay," I whispered. "I won't tell her." The next 5 days were the longest of my life. I had to act normal, had to smile and chat and pretend everything was fine while my stomach churned with anxiety and rage. Tuesday afternoon, I went to Lauren's house for our weekly lunch date. She was in the kitchen making her famous chicken salad, humming to herself, looking happier than I'd seen her in years. "Adam's so excited about Friday," she said, chopping celery. "He says this deal is going to change everything for us. He's talking about maybe buying a vacation home in Sedona or taking Chloe to Europe next summer." "With your money," I thought bitterly, but I just smiled. "That sounds wonderful, honey." Chloe came in from school, dumping her backpack by the door. She signed to me. "Hi, Grandma. Want to see my science project?" "Of course, sweetheart." She led me to the dining room table where she'd constructed an elaborate model of the solar system. Each planet was carefully painted, labeled in both English and ASL fingerspelling. "It's beautiful," I signed. "You're so talented." Chloe beamed. Then her expression shifted, became more serious. She glanced toward this kitchen where Lauren was still cooking, then signed to me. "Grandma, can I ask you something?" "Always?" "Do you trust Adam?" My heart stopped. I kept my face neutral. "Why do you ask?" She bit her lip, uncertain. "Sometimes I see him looking at Mom's computer when she's not there. And last week I saw him on the phone in his car. He looked angry. When he saw me watching, he smiled really fast. But it was fake." God, she was observant. Deaf children learn to read faces, body language, the tiny tells that hearing people miss. Chloe had been watching Adam with the same instincts I had. "What do you think?" I signed, curious what she'd say. "I think he pretends. I think he pretends to like me. He stopped trying to learn sign language after the wedding, like he doesn't need to try anymore." I wanted to tell her everything. Wanted to say, "You're right, sweetheart, and Grandma's going to fix this," but I couldn't. Not yet. "You're very smart," I signed instead. "And I want you to know, no matter what happens, your mom and I will always keep you safe." She nodded slowly, not fully understanding, but trusting me anyway. That night, alone in my house, I cried for the first time since Richard died. Not gentle tears, but great racking sobs that shook my whole body. I was terrified. Terrified I'd mess this up. Terrified Adam would discover the plan. Terrified of what would happen to Lauren if we failed. I called Tom at 11 p.m. "I'm scared," I admitted. "Fear is good, Helen. It keeps you sharp. But remember, you've saved hundreds of children in your career. You can do this. Those children had medicine and doctors and protocols. This is different." "No," Tom said firmly. "This is the same. You saw the danger. You diagnosed the problem. Now you're implementing the treatment, just like you always did." His words steadied me. He was right. This was what I'd been trained to do my whole life. See the crisis, stay calm, take action. I could do this. Wednesday morning, Adam called me. "Helen, how are you, Mom?" He never called me, ever. My guard went up immediately. "I'm fine, Adam. What's up?" "I just wanted to make sure you're still coming Friday. Lauren's so excited to have you there, and I really want you to get to know my partners better. They're good people, important people." There was something in his tone. Too friendly, too eager. Was he suspicious? Or was he just making sure all the pieces were in place for whatever they were planning? "Of course I'll be there," I said warmly. "I wouldn't miss it." "Great. And hey, I know you and I haven't always seen eye to eye, but I want you to know I really love your daughter. I'd do anything for her and Chloe. Liar, predator, monster. I know you would, Adam, I said smoothly. See you Friday. After I hung up, I had to grip the counter to stop my hands from shaking. Thursday afternoon, the day before the dinner, was when I had my close call. I'd stopped by Lauren's house to drop off some books. Lauren was at work, but Adam was home. His BMW was in the driveway, so I knew he was there. I used my key, Lauren had given me one years ago, and called out as I entered. Adam, it's Helen, just dropping off some books. No answer. I set the books on the entry table and was about to leave when I heard voices from the den. The door was slightly ajar. I know I shouldn't have, but I couldn't help myself. I moved closer, staying in the hallway shadows. Through the gap, I saw Adam at the desk, laptop open. Tyler sat across from him. They were signing. Tyler, are we still on schedule? Adam, yes. Friday night, she signs the trust documents. Monday morning, Brandon files them. Tuesday, we move the money. Tyler, all of it? Adam, everything except $50,000. We leave her that so she doesn't immediately panic. By the time she figures it out, we're in Grand Cayman. My blood ran cold. Grand Cayman, of course. Offshore accounts, no extradition. Tyler, what about... And then Adam looked up, looked directly at the door, directly at me. I stumbled backward, heart racing, trying to look casual. I grabbed the books I'd just set down and called out loudly, Adam, are you here? I thought I heard something. The den door opened fully. Adam stood there, his smile pleasant but his eyes sharp, assessing. Helen, I didn't know you were coming by. Just dropping off Lauren's books, I said, holding them up. I called out, but you must not have heard me. Behind him, I could see Tyler calmly closing the laptop, his face neutral. Were you working? I asked innocently. I didn't mean to interrupt. No worries, Adam said, but he didn't move from the doorway. Didn't invite me in. Just going over some investment strategies with Tyler. Boring stuff. Well, I won't keep you. Tell Lauren I came by? Of course. I walked to the door, feeling Adam's eyes on my back every step. My hands wanted to shake, but I forced them steady as I opened the front door. Helen? I turned. Adam was leaning against the hallway wall, arms crossed. You should use the doorbell next time, using your key when Lauren's not home. It's a little intrusive, don't you think? The message was clear. Stay away. Stop watching. I smiled sweetly. You're right. My mistake. See you Friday, Adam. I made it to my car before my legs started shaking. Had he seen me watching? Did he know I understood? Or was he just being generally suspicious? I called Tom immediately. He made me, I said, my voice tight. Or at least he's suspicious. Tell me exactly what happened. I recounted the whole scene. Tom was quiet for a moment. It's okay, he said finally. He's being cautious, but if he really thought you understood ASL, he would have reacted differently. He would have said something to Tyler, changed the subject dramatically. The fact that Tyler kept working on the laptop means Adam still thinks you're harmless. Are you sure? Helen, these guys have gotten away with this multiple times because they're smart and careful. But they're also arrogant. They've profiled you as a harmless old widow who bakes cookies and plays with her granddaughter. That's their weakness. They can't imagine you're a threat. I hoped he was right. Friday morning arrived, the day of reckoning. I barely slept Thursday night. I'd laid out my clothes 3 times. Simple navy slacks, a cream blouse, low heels. Professional, but not suspicious. The brooch was in its box on my dresser, the tiny red stone catching the morning light. At 9 a.m., Tom came to my house to do a final equipment check. You remember how to activate it? 2 quick taps on the clasp. And if something goes wrong, if you feel unsafe at any point, you say the code phrase, I think I left the stove on. Detective Park will move immediately. I nodded, trying to absorb everything. Tom put his hands on my shoulders. Helen, you've got this. Just be yourself. Be the grandmother they've dismissed and underestimated. Let them hang themselves. At 2 p.m., I took a long bath, trying to calm my nerves. I thought about Richard, wished desperately that he was here to tell me I was doing the right thing. But I knew what he'd say. Ellie, you protect your family. Always. At 4 p.m., I dressed carefully, the brooch pinned perfectly on my left shoulder. I looked in the mirror and barely recognized myself. I looked like someone's harmless grandmother. Perfect. At 5:30 p.m., I drove to Lauren's house. Tom was already in position 2 blocks away, parked in a nondescript van with Miller Plumbing painted on the side. Detective Park and 2 officers were staged nearby. I sat in my car for 5 minutes, hands on the wheel, breathing. 40 years in emergency rooms had taught me how to do this, how to shut off the fear, lock away the emotion, and just act. When a child stopped breathing, you didn't panic. You moved. You did what needed to be done. This was the same. I reached up and double-tapped the brooch clasp. A tiny LED flashed once, then went dark. Recording. I grabbed the apple pie I'd made, the perfect grandmother touch, and walked to the front door. Lauren answered, her face lighting up. "Mom, come in, come in. Everything smells amazing, doesn't it?" The house was filled with delicious aromas, roasted garlic, herbs, something savory baking. Lauren had gone all out. "It smells wonderful, honey. You've outdone yourself." Adam emerged from the hallway, freshly showered, wearing an expensive-looking blue button-down. He smiled at me and I smiled back, both of us playing our roles perfectly. "Helen, so glad you could make it. Big night." "I wouldn't miss it." Chloe came running from the kitchen, signing excitedly. "Grandma, I helped make dessert. Chocolate lava cakes." "I can't wait to try one," I signed back, hugging her. The doorbell rang. My heart jumped. Adam answered it and Tyler walked in, followed by Brandon and Vanessa. They greeted Lauren warmly, complimented the house, shook my hand. Tyler signed to me, "Good evening, Mrs. Davis." I signed back simply, "Hello?" His smile was pleasant, unsuspecting. He had no idea I could understand every complex thought his hands might express. We all moved to the dining room. Lauren had set the table beautifully. White linens, good china, candles flickering. It looked like a celebration. It was about to become a confession. I took my seat, adjusting the brooch slightly to ensure it had a clear view of the table, and I waited for them to destroy themselves. Part 2, complete. This section builds maximum tension through Helen's week of maintaining her cover, includes the crucial close call with Adam, deepens the Chloe-Helen relationship, and ends right at the precipice of the dinner scene. Ready for Part 3, the climax, when you give the signal. Dinner began with a toast. Adam stood at the head of the table, raising his wine glass, his smile broad and confident. "To new beginnings," he said. "To partnerships that change lives. And to family, because at the end of the day, that's what matters most." We all raised our glasses. Lauren's eyes shone with happiness. She had no idea she was toasting her own financial execution. I sipped my wine, the brooch recording everything, and watched. The conversation flowed easily through appetizers. Brandon told funny stories about property deals gone wrong. Vanessa asked Lauren about her marketing campaigns. Tyler nodded and smiled at appropriate moments. They were good. Practiced. They'd done this before with Sandra Mitchell, with Patricia Nguyen. A carefully choreographed performance designed to make the victim feel safe, celebrated, included. Lauren served the main course. Her herb-crusted salmon was perfect, the asparagus tender, the mashed potatoes creamy and rich. Everyone praised her cooking. Adam squeezed her hand. She glowed. I felt sick. Chloe ate quietly, watching everyone with those observant eyes. She caught my gaze once, and I saw the question there. "Are you okay, Grandma?" I signed back subtly, "Fine, sweetheart," and smiled to reassure her. At 7:45, Lauren stood up. "Chloe, honey, why don't you go upstairs and work on your homework? Let the adults talk business." Chloe nodded, but before she left, she came around the table and hugged me. Her hands moved in a quick, private sign only I could see. "Be careful." My throat tightened. "I will," I signed back. She left, her footsteps soft on the stairs. And then everything changed. The shift was subtle but immediate. Adam glanced at Tyler, then at the ceiling, confirming Chloe was upstairs, out of earshot. Brandon leaned back in his chair, his friendly expression sliding into something harder, more businesslike. Tyler's hands moved first. "She's gone?" Brandon signed back. "Upstairs. We're clear." My heart hammered against my ribs, but I kept my face pleasant, slightly bored, like someone waiting politely through business talk she doesn't understand. I reached for my wine glass, took a small sip, glanced at my phone as if checking the time. Adam signed to the group, his hands sharp and precise. Okay, final confirmation. Tuesday, 10 a.m. Brandon, I'll pick up Lauren at 9:30. Tell her we're going to the bank to sign the trust documents for Chloe's benefit. Vanessa, the papers look perfect. I used the Mitchell template, worked flawlessly in San Diego. Lauren will think she's protecting Chloe's inheritance. She'll sign everything. Tyler, and the actual transfer? Adam, the money goes into the Cayman account we set up under the Redstone Holdings shell. $1.2 million. Split 4 ways, $300,000 each. I forced myself to breathe normally, to not react. The camera was recording every sign, every gesture. Just keep them talking. Brandon signed with a smirk. What about the house? Adam, too complicated to liquidate quickly. The cash and investments are what matter. We take those and disappear. Vanessa, timeline? Adam, Tuesday morning, Lauren signs. By noon, the transfer's complete. We drive to LAX, flights leave at 2 p.m. Different destinations, different identities. We meet in Grand Cayman on Thursday. Tyler leaned forward, signing, the old woman. He gestured toward me with his chin. She doesn't suspect anything? Adam glanced at me. I was looking at my phone, seemingly oblivious. He signed back. Helen? She's harmless. Useless, actually. She can barely sign past hello and thank you. I tested her months ago. She has no idea what we're saying right now. The table erupted in silent laughter, shoulders shaking, faces grinning, the cruel mirth of predators who think they're invincible. Brandon, just like the grandmother in Sacramento? Adam, exactly. Patricia's mother-in-law was at dinners, right there, never understood a word. These old people learn just enough ASL to communicate with the deaf kid, then stop. They're lazy. Rage boiled in my chest, but I kept my face blank. Took another sip of wine, glanced at Lauren in the kitchen, oblivious and happy. Vanessa signed. What about Lauren? When will she realize? Adam's hands moved coldly. Wednesday morning, she'll check her accounts and see them empty. By then, I'll be gone. She'll call me, text me, panic. But my phone will be in a dumpster in Los Angeles. She'll go to the police, but will have vanished. Tyler. And then what? Adam shrugged, signing. She'll survive. She has the house. She can get a loan, rebuild. Or maybe she'll do what Patricia did. My blood turned to ice. Brandon. Patricia was weak. Adam. Patricia was desperate. Lost everything. Couldn't face the shame. Put a gun in her mouth 6 months after I left. Problem solved itself. He signed it so casually, so callously. Like Patricia Nguyen's life, her son's trauma meant nothing. Vanessa. Her kid? Adam. Foster care, not my concern. Tyler signed with mock concern. What if Lauren is stronger? What if she fights back? Adam's face hardened. He signed slowly, deliberately. She won't, but if she does, there are ways to handle problems. The implication hung in the air like poison. Brandon. Like the insurance policy? My heart stopped. Adam. $2 million if something happens to Lauren. Beneficiary is me as spouse. If she signs the trust papers Tuesday and has an accident sometime next month, we split $4 million instead of 1.2. Vanessa. You're not serious. Adam. I'm always serious about maximizing profit. But that's plan B. Plan A is simpler. Take the money and run. Less messy. I had heard enough. More than enough. These monsters weren't just planning to rob my daughter. They were discussing whether to murder her. I set down my wine glass carefully. The sound made everyone look at me. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. Helen, you okay? Adam asked in English, his voice filled with fake concern. I looked directly at Tyler. My hands began to move, fluid and precise. I think we need to talk about Tuesday's plan. Tyler's face went from tan to chalk white in an instant. Brandon started to stand. What the? I continued signing, my voice following my hands. I've understood every single word you've signed for the past 20 minutes. I've been fluent in American Sign Language for 17 years. I pointed at the brooch on my shoulder. And every word has been recorded, video and audio. The room exploded into chaos. Adam shot to his feet. You understand ASL? I was a pediatric nurse for 40 years, Adam. Or should I call you Marcus Brennan? My voice was steel. I know about Sandra Mitchell in San Diego. I know about Patricia Nguyen in Sacramento, the woman you drove to suicide. I know the warrant out for your arrest in California. Adam's mask shattered. You crazy bitch! And I know about the murder plan, I continued, my voice growing stronger. Plan B, the insurance policy. Were you planning to make it look like an accident, Adam? A car crash? A home invasion gone wrong? Brandon bolted for the back door. He made it 3 steps before it crashed open. Phoenix Police! Nobody move! Detective Sarah Park strode in, badge held high, 2 uniformed officers behind her. Another officer caught at Brandon at the door, slamming him against the wall. Tyler stood frozen, his hands half raised, all pretense of deafness abandoned. Vanessa screamed, I'm a lawyer, you can't— You're not a lawyer, Detective Park said calmly. You're Vanessa Rodriguez, fired from Chase Bank for embezzlement. And yes, we can. Adam's eyes locked on mine, burning with hatred. You think you've won? You just destroyed your daughter's marriage. You destroyed her happiness. No, I said quietly. You did that yourself. Lauren appeared from the kitchen, her face white, confused. Mom? What's happening? Why are there police? She saw Adam in handcuffs, saw Brandon pinned against the wall, saw Tyler with his hands up, Vanessa crying. Adam? Her voice broke. What's going on? Adam tried one last manipulation. Lauren, baby, this is a misunderstanding. Your mother is confused. Stop talking. Detective Park cut him off. She turned to Lauren, her voice gentle. Mrs. Turner, I'm Detective Sarah Park. Your husband's real name is Marcus Brennan. He's a fugitive wanted for multiple counts of fraud and identity theft. He was planning to steal your assets and disappear. No, Lauren shook her head. No, that's not. Adam, tell them they're wrong. I moved to her, gripped her arms. Honey, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but it's true. He's done this before. To other women. He was going to take everything. You're lying. But her voice wavered. She looked at Adam, really looked at him, and I saw the moment reality crashed through her denial. Saw her remember the joint accounts, the trust documents he'd been pressuring her to sign, the questions about her finances, all the tiny red flags she'd ignored because she wanted to believe in love. Oh, God, she whispered. Oh, God, oh, God. Her legs buckled. I caught her, held her up. Adam was still talking, still trying to spin it. Lauren, I love you. I made mistakes, yes, but I love— Shut up, Lauren screamed. Don't you dare say you love me. Don't you dare. Chloe appeared on the stairs, eyes wide with fear. She ran to us, and I gathered both of them in my arms as the police led Adam and his crew out in handcuffs. Adam looked back one last time, and I met his eyes without flinching. You underestimated the wrong grandmother, I said. 2 hours later, after the police left, after Lauren gave her statement, after Chloe finally stopped crying, we sat together in the living room. Lauren was in shock, moving through the stages, disbelief, anger, grief, all cycling through her face like a storm. How long have you known? She asked finally. 3 weeks. I hired a private investigator. 3 weeks, she laughed bitterly. You knew for 3 weeks and didn't tell me. If I'd told you, you might have confronted him. He would have run. We needed evidence. You should have told me. She stood up, pacing. I'm not a child, Mom. I had a right to know. You're right, I said quietly. You did, and I'm sorry. But honey, I was terrified. Terrified he'd hurt you. Terrified we'd lose our chance to stop him. Lauren sank back down, her anger deflating into exhaustion. He was planning to kill me. That detective said, insurance fraud. He was going to kill me. Maybe. We don't know for sure, but we stopped him before— Mom! She looked at me, tears streaming. He slept in my bed. He lived in my house. He ate dinner with Chloe. And all of it, was fake. I had no answer for that. No comfort that could touch that kind of betrayal. Chloe signed something and Lauren translated through her tears. She says she never trusted him. She says she knew something was wrong. I signed to Chloe. You were right, sweetheart. You saw what others missed. Chloe signed back. Because I watch. Hearing people don't watch like deaf people do. She was right. Her deafness had made her see more clearly than any of us. The trial was surprisingly quick. Tom's video, my testimony, and evidence from Adam's previous victims made it overwhelming. Adam Brennan, along with Brandon Willis, Tyler Hammond, and Vanessa Rodriguez, pled guilty to avoid longer sentences. Adam got 15 years, Brandon 12. Tyler and Vanessa each got 10. But there was more. California reopened Patricia and Gwen's case. They found emails, hidden accounts, evidence suggesting Adam had been with her the day she died. The gun that killed her had been wiped clean. Too clean. The investigation was ongoing, but the district attorney was confident. Adam Brennan would be charged with murder. Lauren sold the house. Too many ghosts. She bought a smaller place 15 minutes away, closer to Chloe's school. She donated $50,000 to deaf education programs in Patricia's memory. She started therapy. Started healing. Chloe started a youth program teaching ASL to hearing students, calling it the Silent Guardian Project. She wanted kids to understand that deaf culture wasn't a disability. It was a different way of seeing the world. A way that, as she put it, saved our family. As for me, I moved into a condo near them, close enough to help, far enough to let Lauren rebuild her independence. Last week, Chloe and I visited Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C., the world's only university for deaf and hard-of-hearing students. She wants to study there, maybe become an advocate for deaf rights. We toured the campus, watched a deaf theater performance, sat in on a class taught entirely in ASL. It was beautiful. That night at dinner, Chloe signed to me, "Grandma, you saved everything. Not just money. You saved Mom's spirit. You showed me that being deaf isn't a weakness, that ASL is powerful. You were never weak, sweetheart. None of us were." "I know, but now everyone else knows too. I'm 70 years old now. People think this is the age of invisibility, the age of stepping back, of letting younger people take charge, of fading into the background. They're wrong. This is the age of wisdom, of experience, of knowing when to be silent and when to speak. I learned ASL to love my granddaughter. That small act of love became the weapon that saved my daughter's life. Never stop learning. Never let anyone tell you you're too old to matter, because the moment they underestimate you is the moment you have the advantage." Adam Brennan looked at me and saw a harmless old woman who baked pies and played with her grandchild. He signed his entire criminal conspiracy right in front of me because he assumed I couldn't understand. He assumed wrong. If you're reading this, especially if you're a woman over 50, a grandmother, someone society tells you is invisible, remember, you are not powerless. The skills you've learned, the wisdom you've gained, the things you know that others don't think you know, those are superpowers. Use them. Being underestimated isn't a weakness. It's your secret weapon. And love expressed in any language, signed or spoken, is always stronger than deception. Always.